Hello everyone, this is Miss Thomas. Today we're going to look at evaluating algebraic expressions. So an algebraic expression has no equal signs and also has variables with coefficients. So, some of us don't quite know what that means. Variables, remember, are just letters that represent a missing numerical value. We don't know what the numerical value is, but we put a letter, we put an X, a Y, an A, a B, any letter can work. Coefficients is a term that some people can go their whole high school career and never really learn. The coefficient is the number being multiplied squeeze that in there by the variable. Goodness gracious, I'm going to get used to this. All right. So, variables are letters that are in our expressions and our equations. Coefficients are generally the numbers being multiplied by the variable. So, for example, if I have the term 3x, the x is obviously the variable. And the number on front, which would be the 3, that is the coefficient. So in math class, you're going to be expected to know that term. I expect you to understand that the coefficient is the number in front of the variable, and that coefficient is always being multiplied by the variable. So if we did know what the value of the variable is, we could substitute it in and multiply those two things together. So today we're going to look at how to evaluate algebraic expressions. So in class, I've been getting a lot of questions about what does evaluate mean. I know on your pretest, some of you knew you're supposed to substitute a value in for the variable, but evaluate means if you know the value of the variable, substitute it in, and then you also want to simplify. So to evaluate, you want to substitute into the variable, and then you also want to simplify as much as possible. So if you can get it down to one number, you should do that. Okay, so we are going to practice evaluating. So we are going to evaluate t squared minus the quantity 3t plus 2. We're going to evaluate this quantity for t equals 5. And what this means is we know the value of t. We want to see what will this expression equal when t equals 5. So all I need to do, if t equals 5, we're going to try to color code it. Everywhere there's a t, I'm going to replace it with a 5. So I'm going to do a 5 here, and I'm going to do a 5 here. Otherwise, I'm going to bring everything else down. So my t turned into a 5, the squared comes down, the minus comes down, parentheses, and the 3 comes down. Be careful here though, because I had 3t, that's really 3 times t, so it should be 3 times that 5 instead of the t. The plus sign comes down, and the 2 comes down. Okay? So now I just have a simpler expression with just numbers. So we know from here we really just want to use our order of operations. And remember, like we said in class today, multiplication and division happen at the same time from left to right, and addition and subtraction happen at the same time from left to right. So if division comes first, I do division first. If multiplication comes first, I do that first. So we have parentheses. So let's simplify what's in the parentheses. So I'm going to bring down the 5 squared. Not well, but I'm going to bring it down. Minus. So inside the parentheses, I have 3 times 5 and I have a plus 2. Inside the parentheses, I'm going to start the order of operations over, so I know I have to do my 3 times 5. So it's going to be 15 plus 2. I still have things to be simplified inside of that parentheses. So 15 plus 2 is 17. Now, my parentheses is as simplified as it can be. So I want to take care of the exponent on the 5. So it's going to be 25, because 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25, minus 17, which equals 8. So you can see, even though we're starting with an expression that has variables, we end up with just one value. All right, so we're going to do another example. Again, the directions for this will be evaluate. In this example, we are going to evaluate negative 4v plus 3 w plus 2v. And we're going to evaluate that for v equals negative 2 and w equals 4. Okay? So we have 2 variables, which means we need to be careful about what we're doing when we're substituting values in. I do feel like color coding these things really helps. So I am going to worry about substituting my v's with black. So I'm going to look at my expression. I have a v here and I have a v here. So what I'm going to do is just change those v's out for negative 2's. Okay? So I put a double parentheses because of this parentheses right here. So then I also have a 4. So I'm going to color code my my w, which is a 4. I'm going to color code my w with the pink. It makes it a little bit easier to make sure you're matching up the right variables with the right numbers. So I know my w should be a 4. Now there's all this other stuff I haven't brought down yet. You should bring that down. So my negative 4 was negative 4v, which is negative 4. Now my v is a negative 2. Plus 3 needs to come down. I already brought down my parentheses. I already changed my w to a 4. Bring down your plus sign. Bring down your 2. It's 2v. So now it's 2 times negative 2. And I brought down my other parentheses. So again, all of the variables are gone. All we have to do is simplify now using our order of operations. So using my order of operations, I know today in class a lot of us got a little bit confused by situations like this. You see that there's a parentheses there and you don't know what to do. There's nothing to simplify in the parentheses. It's already a negative 2. It's already done for us. So we can multiply this together because it's not really attached to anything else. So negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8. Bring down your plus 3 in your parentheses. So we've got this parentheses right here. Inside of the parentheses we have 4 plus 2 times negative 2. So using the order of operations inside of the parentheses, I know that before I do my addition, I need to do my multiplication. So I'm going to bring down my 4, and then 2 times negative 2 is going to give me a negative 4. So you can leave it like this, 4 plus negative 4. You don't really need a parentheses around this negative 4, but if it helps you, feel free. So what I need to do is 8 plus 3, and then simplify what's inside my parentheses. 4 plus negative 4 is 0. They're going to cancel each other out. They're the same sign. They're the same number. They're just opposites, okay? So it's 4 and its opposite. So 4 plus its opposite is going to give you 0. So now I have multiplication. I have 3 times 0, which is 0. So my answer is going to simplify to an 8. So things I really want you to be careful of. Right up here at this line, this is a line where lots of mistakes end up happening. I know so frequently I see people see the 8 plus 3 and they think, oh, I know that. And we talked about this a little bit in class today. You see the addition, it's so easy for you, you just do it automatically and you don't even think about it. Please, please, please remember, the addition and subtraction are the last things you take care of. Unless they are in a parentheses, do not do that addition out front first. Okay, you have got to keep bringing down the 8 plus all the way until the very end. It really changes your answer. Okay, so our last problem here is the you try problem. You're going to evaluate 3x squared plus 5 times the quantity x minus 2y for x equals 6 and y equals negative 1. So since this is your you try problem, you need to take this problem and try it. It's part of your homework grade. So as a reminder for homework, I'll be checking both your notes and that you attempt this problem. It doesn't need to be right, but you need to make an effort to try it. So that's it, and I hope you guys all have a great night. Thanks.